Hey folks, Rue here. Just wanted to let you know that this episode of Ruel's Running Podcast is sponsored by Health IQ, an insurance company that helps health-conscious people get special life insurance rates. Health IQ can save the listeners of Ruel's Running Podcast up to 33% because physically active people have a 56% lower risk of heart disease, a 20% lower risk of cancer, and a 58% lower risk of diabetes compared to people who are inactive. Health IQ uses science and data to secure lower rates on life insurance for health-conscious people, including runners, cyclists, strength trainers, and more. To see if you qualify, get your free quote today at healthiq.com/Ruel or mention the promo code RUEL when you talk to a Health IQ agent.
Podcasting from somewhere in the San Francisco Bay Area, the birthplace of Bruce Lee, the iPhone, and the bendy straw. This is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
There was a dream a million miles away. There was fire in
Amazon.com. You know, I won't be surprised if more and more stuff that I shop for, buy, and get shipped to my home comes from Amazon. It's just a reality, right? And if this is your reality, go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon banner to get to Amazon. Why am I asking you to do so? Well, it is a no-cost-to-you way. If you like listening to Ruel's Running Podcast, it is a way that you can help the show out without spending more than you've already spent while shopping at the good folks at Amazon.com. So help us out. Go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon.com site, and shop, connect, and enjoy.
Hey everybody, it's Ruel Abbott and welcome to the show. If you are a return listener, welcome back. If you are a new listener, hey, how's it going? Glad you're here. Hope you stick around. Hope you enjoy the show and check out all the other past episodes. Want to hop right into it. It's the holiday time and I still have holiday shopping to do, so I better get my booty in gear because I need to get with the season. Hope everything is well with you guys, and you got what you need to get, and you will get what you want to get when it's time to unravel those packages. As an announcement, yes, I'm still looking for music, and I hopefully I can get some new music before the new year, and to integrate into the podcast for the new year. I'm really excited about doing those things and having a little bit more fun. So if you or somebody you know has some free music who would be interested in having it sort of like highlighted, featured, showcased, and promoted on the show, let me know. Give me a buzz at 650-MUGRUEL. That's 650-685-7835. Also, you can reach me on the website, ruelsrunning.com. There's a speak pipe widget. Just tap on that and follow the instructions and leave me a message. Thank you very much. So let your friends know that you can find this show on Spotify, on the Spotify app, and also on iHeartRadio if you or your friends happen to be on those particular apps. Spotify and iHeartRadio. Awesome. I want to give a quick shout out to somebody who doesn't listen to the show, but somebody who means a whole lot to me. His name is Jeremy. I won't use his last name because I don't have his permission, but if he so happens to listen to the show, Jeremy, I just want to let you know that, and I already told you this personally, but I want to share it on the show. Jeremy, thanks so much. You mean a whole lot to me because you came into my life at a time when I really needed somebody like you, And if folks are wondering what I'm talking about, Jeremy is my colleague at my day job, and he hired me on for the position that I'm currently on. So in essence, he was my boss. I being as old as I am, I've worked in many companies and I've worked in many teams, managers come and go, and some managers that I really, really, really appreciate, I really respect, look up to, and learn from, and there are a whole bunch of others who are just pure piece of shits, and I'm glad to be done with. But Jeremy is one who really stands out, one who, if for those who follow the show, there was this sort of what I like to describe as a dark period in the podcast, simply because I was going through a lot of challenges around my job and dealing with people there at that old job. And when I transitioned out, Jeremy was there to basically say, hey, I really appreciate what you have, what you've done, and I'm willing to take a chance on you and to do what you do and shine. And it really meant a lot, to have that opportunity. And I wanted to give him a shout out here, especially that now that he's moving on to other things. Yesterday was Jeremy's last day with the company, so we had a nice lunch with the team, and before I left the office, I made sure to give him my hugs and express my appreciation. A card floated around in the office for folks to sign, to wish him well and bye-bye and all that stuff. But I told Jeremy, it's not goodbye, and he's like, yeah, it's not. It's just sort of one of those sort of shifting gears and shifting directions and paths, but it doesn't have to mean goodbye. And I'm kind of like, when I drop my daughter off at preschool, I think one of the ways that the staff try to alleviate any sort of anxiety that kids have from separating from their parents is they use the phrase, I'll see you soon, rather than goodbye. Right? So to Jeremy, I'll see you soon. Yeah, I really appreciate you. And that's my shout out. There wasn't a whole lot that I could put in a card, so I just said what I had to say, and I figured I'd say the rest. I'd say it again here on this podcast. Awesome. So let's move right along into what's cooking, y'all. Sad to say, but not so sad, nothing really new and exciting has been churning in the kitchen, but things are always churning in the kitchen. And for one, it's something that I've already reported on a couple podcasts ago, and I took some whole fish and I fried them up in bacon grease, and it's so damn delicious. It's something that I'm proud to say I'm kind of getting good at. I never imagined that I'd be cooking or frying fish, because in general, it just sounds like an unhealthy and messy experience. But now that I'm cooking it and frying up fish in bacon grease, how can it be bad, since I'm not burning conventional seed oils and junk in high temp that turns it into something toxic. I'm not frying the fish in some toxic oil. I'm cooking it in yummy, delicious bacon fat. And if you think about it, well, initially you might think, wow, why would you fish in bacon fat? That's just odd. But fish is seafood, and so is shrimp. And how many of you have heard of wrapping like bacon over things like shrimp? Not too bad, is it? And quite honestly, the fish doesn't even taste like a thing of bacon. It just tastes like fish. It's pretty basic dish. Nothing fancy. Just get some cleaned out fish. Run it through slits, around a couple slits on each side. Season, salt, and pepper, and fire it up in some hot bacon grease. I generally go like 9 minutes on each side, and then I flip it over a second time for another minute on each side, and take it out, have it sort of drip any excess oil, and put it on a drying rack, like a cookie drying rack, and sprinkle some additional salt on it, and it's good to go. So that's, nothing new, nothing exciting. And the other stuff that I've been doing is bone broth, again, in the Instant Pot. Nothing new and exciting, stuff that I've generally done. And it's something that, I like to have on hand always. It's a healthy way to keep your gut going. And, it's always good to have some good home broth so that you can add it to your other dishes, like the Instant Pot rotisserie chicken, or maybe you want to make some chili. Instead of adding just water to your chili, you can add some broth, or maybe you want to make some pulled pork and you want to add some of that broth for moisture. There you go. Since it is the holidays, what my wife is doing, and she does it every holiday season, is she'll bake stuff, and for the schools, not for the whole school, but for the teachers, for the preschool, for the place, for the staff that take care of the children, who educate the children, who guide the children. So she likes making care packages with an assortment of treats for the holiday for everyone. And my wife is a badass in the kitchen as far as getting those done. And as a matter of fact, last night I had to help her cut up some of the bars and the brittle. And I know what you guys are thinking, like, wow, Ruel, you're like, aren't you like on an NSNG lifestyle? Yes, I am. And these are life into living sort of treats. And believe it or not, as you can imagine, as abundant as these treats get churned out and created in the house, my wife and I don't eat them, but it's sort of life into living giving is what we're doing. And this is stuff that doesn't happen year round. It's just only for the holidays. And it puts a little smile on folks' face, and it becomes each individual responsibility, how and control how they go about enjoying all of that. And it's all positive, it's all good. So yesterday, there's these cookie bars that my wife makes. It's sort of like the staple bar in her assortments, and people love them. Some people nickname them heaven bars. I don't know, because I've never had it, but I guess it's supposed to be really, really good. And the other thing was the how do I say it? It's sort of like a peppermint Oreo bark. And I know you guys are thinking, oh my god, peppermint Oreo. It sounds fun, it sounds festive, and I'm sure if you are a fan of peppermint, like candy cane and Oreos, it probably really sounds good to you. Again, it does nothing for me. Cutting it up and having contact and smelling and stuff, it does nothing for me. And my wife and I were talking about it yesterday. People love the stuff, but it's amazing how we can stand here and and package boatloads of this stuff, and none of us are like melting over it. Even the kids, guys. 3 kids in the house, and all these sweets are being baked and stuff. They're not like trying to steal little morsels and bites and crumbs or anything. They just kind of go on with their business. It's pretty interesting. Yeah. So that's generally what's cooking. So some family updates. The kids are in school, and so far no incidents. Cross our fingers. And right now we're all just sort of like getting settled down. We've done a whole lot so far, and Christmas hasn't even rolled around. Not a whole lot of excitement, which is great because I've come off of I've got a little bit of it, but I've come off of whatever cold and flu drama that I've had to deal with. My oldest had caught it, and he's getting over it, but this is a period where everyone else in the family wants to stay as healthy as possible. We need everyone to stay as healthy as possible because we don't want to be sick for Christmas, and we'll be planning another trip at the end of the year, and we want to stay healthy for that as well. So it's this whole business about the flu shot and stuff. I've never gotten the flu shot, only because I have a history of egg allergy, and it's just been discouraged for me to get because of that. And so whether or not that factors how hard I've had to deal with the symptoms that I've had, I'll never know. As a matter of fact, I went to the doctor just to rule out things like bacterial infections, strep, and whatnot. And it was just a virus. I just having a hard time with symptoms. I don't get that sick that often, and didn't cross my mind to take some over-the-counter medicine until I was at the tail end of the week of being sick. And that's another thing. Taking the over-the-counter medication like NyQuil and DayQuil, it wreaks havoc on my gut. If it helps with my runny nose and congestion, it just opens up my gut and just gives me some bad gas. So, I'm not dealing with stuff in my face, but stuff out of my ass is coming out. I mean, in the form of bad air. But entertaining. So, I was at the doctor's office and ruled out the bacterial infection. But, the doctor asked about my allergies with eggs, and I said, I eat tons of eggs, and I don't know if it's even a thing for me to even say that I'm allergic to eggs. And so she's like, well, I guess we can take it off your record. And I'm like, okay, fine. So maybe I should stop saying that I have an egg allergy, because now that I've taken it off my record. And the reason for that is, and I guess we're talking about health now, is that, I believe that egg allergies, sort of whatever symptoms I dealt with as a kid, really had nothing to do with eggs. It had everything to do with just having a really crummy diet to begin with. And it was nothing that was understood, growing up. I grew up in, like, the 80s, right? Grew up in the 80s and 90s. Most of my symptoms were, like the 80s and early 90s. And, I used to get these lesions on my fingertips, and on my hands, on my skin. I don't know if eczema is an accurate description of it, but I used to get like these pussy bubbles on like one massive pus bubble on my fingertip. Maybe different times of my childhood, I would develop it on a finger or a different finger. One time in my childhood, it was just a full body rash, and whenever weird stuff like that would happen, somehow it came up as, I have an egg allergy, right? I said, okay, what's it about the egg? And so I'd have to avoid eating egg and anything cooked in egg. And then while at it, just not eat chicken as well, because, eggs come from chicken. So that was my childhood as far as dealing with suspected allergies. Again, the question was, what was it about the egg that, made me react? And, my mom explained. Again, this is just an example of how really unknowledgeable we all were at the time. And says, it's probably because of the cholesterol, So back then in the 80s, cholesterol was being thrown around as an issue, as far as why, as an aspect of eating an egg, and that made me allergic. So it's kind of stupid looking back, right? And I'm a kid, so then I just take everything for however it's described as me. So I'm like, yeah, it's the cholesterol in eggs that are giving me an allergic reaction. Things that have bothered me growing up, I know now, I've discovered, just by having a healthier lifestyle, thanks to following NSNG, and being mindful of shit foods and healthier foods, and and realizing that I can tolerate eggs, I can enjoy eggs, and I'm not going to break out like I used to. All those breakouts that I had as a kid, all just were a result of, back in the 80s, TV dinners were fun, and they were available, and we had them. Snack foods, junk foods, all that stuff was available, really available. My dad ran a tab at a nearby store, so whenever he wanted me to, this was a time when my dad said, "Can you pick up a 6-pack and a pack of cigarettes for me?" I was able to do that, and because the folks that ran the store were, they weren't like, they were kind of, it was a small community, small neighborhood, so we were all kind of like friends of the family, and they knew who I was, they knew who my dad was, and they allowed me to, sign off on the tab, for my dad's beer and cigarettes. Never mind that it was alcohol and tobacco. I was able to just take my bike or my moped and sort of like put over to the store, put and get a 6-pack in a plastic bag and some cigarettes, and while there, basically get the go ahead to buy me junk food, because at that age I was old enough to say, well, if I'm going to take the time and get you some of your stuff, what can I get something for myself? And because it was free money, up front it was like, all right, grab some chips, grab some candy, some soda, and as often as my dad had beer and cigarettes, that's pretty much how often I had junk food, So any wonder why, my body was rejecting or was reacting in weird ways with things like, skin issues and lesions. I wasn't putting the best things in my body, and by the time I hit 4th or 5th grade, my body started showing signs of, weight gain as a little kid. I started becoming the chubby kid, not chubby as in today's standards, because in today's, the average chubby kid is like, is heavier, unfortunately. But for me at the time, I was a chubby kid. We lived around cousins and stuff, and everybody was skinny and lean, and I was the guy that was outside of that box. So I was my brother was really skinny, and I was the fat kid, and and the kids used to chant regarding my brother and I, like, look, fat and skinny went to bed. That whole thing. Fat and skinny went to bed. Fat rolled over and skinny was dead, or something like that. And it was hard as a kid, to be made fun of my weight, but looking back, again, I was taking in more junk than my brother was, and it was apparent in what I was becoming. and that carried all the way through junior high. I just got heavier and more, and I learned to be more. When you're breaking through puberty and all that stuff, become really self-conscious, and I was really self-conscious, and I was really uncomfortable in my own skin. It was a period where you have a PE class and you have to dress down in the locker room and the showers and stuff, and it's like really uncomfortable with my body. And then when high school rolled around, the tail end of junior high, I managed to lose a bunch of weight. I was having issues with someone in school, kind of like a bully, if you will, and I just got fed up, with the sort of mental anguish that was happening because of some dickhead. So, I took the time to while at home to exercise, push-ups, sit-ups, and I didn't have a punching bag, so I took a what's called it's a rollaway mat made of kind of like a weave, not grass, not hay. I don't know if it's some sort of like grassy type fiber. I would roll it up, and I would prop it up against the wall, and I would just punch the shit out of it, right? And when I was done there, I was doing push-ups and sit-ups and jumping jacks, and I would do run laps around the house. There was the house that I was at. I lived with my grandparents at the time, just so that because they had the space. And at home with my parents, my brother and I were getting bigger, and we didn't care to share rooms at that time, so we split up. My brother and I traded time living with our grandparents so that we could have our own bedroom. Anyways, I would run laps around my grandparents' house, and just do whatever I could to get a workout, break a sweat. No real method to how to work out, but it was sort of like, I was obsessed. I got obsessed with getting prepared in the event. I needed to physically deal with somebody, and I've been there before. I was just a kid, but even when I was even younger of a kid, I've dealt with other doofus kids in school and had encounters. So every so often it would happen, and I would have to figure out how to cope with myself and prepare myself to deal with the imagination of something happening. And what that did for me was it made my mind stronger, it made my body a little bit stronger, as strong as it could be. And if anything, it put me in a healthier state because I was getting a bit more physical activity, and my body had changed from being that chubby kid to leaning out, fortunately. And, then skateboarding hit the island, and, I just kind of followed that path and joined a bunch of kids who were of similar interest, and we were all just following that sort of thrasher lifestyle and skateboarding and launch ramps and jump ramps and all that stuff, and that just added more activity to who I was at the time, and it kept me lean. It was awesome. But even though I was lean, I was still dealing with problems with my skin, right? I managed to sort of get the weight gain away, but I would have not just the skin problems, but I would also have migraines. So all this stuff, from the weight gain to the skin problems to migraines, it's stuff that I deal less and less of now because I've changed how I eat, and it's not gone, because I know that when I get off track, I'll get a migraine. If I really get off track, I start to develop itches and spot parts of my body that, are that are, unusual. Definitely when I get off track, I'm quick to put on weight. I heard somewhere that, those fat cells that I've developed, they don't go away, right? They're still there. They're just not like full, right? They're sort of like flat. So I have the capacity to put on weight, and I have the unfortunate reality of having a hard time to take it off as well, right? So that's just how I've evolved and what I've become. And as a parent, I'm where I'm at is, I want to give my kids the best chance possible to not be what I have become, right? Because now that I know better, I can sort of guide them and raise them in a way where, they don't need to, by the time they get into that 4th and 5th grade, they hopefully they don't become that chubby kid, right? I want them to stay as healthy and lean as possible, because being lean is a good indicator of that health. Want to keep them active, and try and minimize the snack foods. My kids don't live in a bubble, so they do get exposed to things, but it's not going to happen where I'm going to be sending my kids for a 6-pack of cigarettes for me and giving them free rein on buying whatever the heck they want. We know better. It's a different time. But I don't know how I got there. That was somehow that chat had evolved health and family and whatnot. But it became what it became. Health IQ rated 9.6 out of 10 on Trustpilot. Customers love them. Ryan Hall, the fastest marathoner in American history and the only United States athlete to break the 1 hour time for the half marathon. This is what he has to say about Health IQ. Quote, "It's perfect because it's made for people like me with a healthy, active lifestyle." Unquote. The lower heart rates that many pro athletes have can sometimes negatively affect insurance rates. Hall liked the fact that Health IQ used this active lifestyle as an asset in getting a good life insurance rate rather than it being a detriment. He commented that he appreciated how Health IQ made the process easy and simple for him, given how limited his time already was. Health IQ is the fastest growing life insurance company with over $5 billion in coverage. So, like saving money on your car insurance for being a good driver, Health IQ saves you money on your life insurance for living a health-conscious lifestyle. To see if you qualify, get your free quote today at healthiq.com/Ruel or mention the promo code RUEL when you talk to a Health IQ agent today. All right, guys. Quick run update. Now that I'm off of this funk, I'm not gonna go for a run, but I'm gonna go for a long walk, maybe a hike of some sorts. And it's something that I've been waiting to be clear to do. Now that I'm where I'm at, it's something that will help me, especially when I'm trying to, when you get that phlegm back up as a result of being sick, and you don't want to take a whole bunch of over-the-counter medicines to try and free that up so you can like a Mucinex and hack all that stuff out, or you can't just sit in a sauna or in a steamy shower to try and loosen that stuff up. Well, when I go out and I get my lungs working a little bit more, it actually helps me clear clear things up. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to, bringing my gear back to the office and spending more time out and about and getting those runs in. It's just sort of like, I kind of wish that, I had more time on my feet, but there's a reason why, I fell sick, and whatever that is, maybe it's trying to keep me out of trouble, maybe it's trying to keep me, for safe, I don't know, but here I am. I'll take what I can get. Let's see, moving right along. NSNG community news. Well, you guys know, I'm a part of a small team of admins for the Vinnie Tortorich No Sugar No Grains group. There are two groups. One, the main group. You can't find it on Facebook. The team made it secret a while back. But so, how do folks find it and get in it? Well, an alternative group was created. It's a searchable group. It's still a closed group. It still uses the same name, Vinnie Tortorich NSNG. You can find it. You can ask to be part of a group. You have to answer the questions that you are prompted when you want to ask to be a member. Please, please, please answer the damn questions. Don't be a dickhead and just request to be in, because this is what's going to happen. Me and the rest of the admins, Lonnie Beecham, Mark Thompson, we're going to see, oh, look, here's a request to be added. No questions answered. Decline. See ya. That's what's going to happen. We need to know that you're not a douchebag spammer, right? Or just a douchebag, right? We need to know how you found the group. How you found Vinnie Tortorich, how you found NSNG. Maybe you heard about Vinnie on Adam Carolla, maybe you heard about Vinnie on his podcast, maybe you heard about Vinnie through Anna Vicino and Eat Happy, all that stuff, right? Maybe you heard about Vinnie through Ruel's Running Podcast. We need to know, because that gives us confidence that we're not putting people that shouldn't be in the group. And so that searchable group is basically the lobby group, right? It's that opportunity to know a little bit where you're coming from, and we let you in. And once you're in, it's your responsibility to message an admin and say, okay, now that I'm in here and I have access to you admins, can somebody please add me to the main group? And at that point, you are to send that admin your email address via Messenger, the email address that you use for your Facebook account, simply because the email invite will be sent to that email account, and it'll turn you on into the main group, the main secret group, right? Ta-da! Easy peasy. You become part of this ginormous community, which is No Sugar No Grains, thanks to Vinnie Tortorich. And that group is in the upper 19,000s in numbers, and the guys predict that by the end of the year before the end of the year it would hit over 20,000. So it's a lot of people. The group's been around for like 5 years, and it's a great place to be if you happen to stumble upon No Sugar No Grains through this podcast or any other way. The team is happy to help guide you in, and everybody else in the community is super helpful and excited, whether you are new to it or whether you've been doing it already. It's a good place to be, to stay with like-minded people and stay on track. So that's the NSNG community. A little update on abadamstudios.com. abadamstudios.com is a place where you can go if you have, let's say, you need a t-shirt design, something that kind of like hits a nerve, makes you happy, makes you want to make a statement. You want somebody to design something for you, go to abadamstudios.com. Or maybe you have a website or have aspirations of having a website but have no idea what to do, you need some sort of resource, someone to consult, or maybe someone to help you get the work done, go to abadamstudios.com. So at abadamstudios.com, I've been doing a little work. I've been doing this design project for Vinny, and it started out with the work came from Serena, and she guided me through what sort of in general what they wanted, and I threw a lot of ideas their way, and the process of back and forth and then trying to refine what exactly they want, and then eventually Vinny got a hold of me, and then he started wanting certain things directly, communicating things directly with me, and which helped a lot, sped things along, and happy to give him basically I want to say a pretty damn good design, with some minor variations, and I'm at the point now where I need to polish a couple more variations on a second design, which I've already been paid for, and send that his way. So pretty excited to have essentially wrap up a good project, and now I'm available for more cool stuff. Again, so if anybody has any needs for web, graphic, even podcasting, whether to do some work or to do some consulting, just hit me up over at abadamstudios.com. That's abadamstudios.com. Awesome. Hey guys, it's time for me to go, and just want to give you guys a reminder. It's holiday time. As you do your gift buying, go to ruelsrunning.com and click on the Amazon link and then do your shopping. That'll help the show out a lot, and and that's it. Awesome, guys. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for listening to the show. I appreciate you. I'll catch you on the next episode. Remember, eat something delicious, hug your family, and go run something. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.